Pep Talk UK. It's time!
Everyone talk good game, but it don't really faze me. The man that ain't mad like Max, the boy that not murky like Ace B. And them gal walk the slide on the back bars in like a baby.
It's the Pep Talk boys. Oi, oi. Welcome to the Pep Talk UK Sports Podcast, the podcast that talks the major boxing and football news from around the globe, real points of view from a real panel. Hashtag real talk on Pep Talk. I'm your host today, Frankie B. And in the words of Kel Brook, I'm back, baby. Now, I'm joined by a special panel today. Firstly, from the beautiful capital of France, Paris, Pascal, how are ya?
Frankie B, dans la maison, c'est Pascal, the bad mouth of Paris. How are you tonight, my friend?
Mate, I'm feeling good. Arsenal had a very, very good result last night, and I feel on top of the world, my friend.
Oh, very much so. You know, we handled these guys like Swiss cheese. We melt them and we eat them, you know. It was a very good game, very pleased. And most importantly, for very, very long time, Arsenal finished top of the group like I predicted, you know. So it's looking very good.
Top of the group, more champagne, more alizé, my friend. Now,
of course.
I'd like to welcome a newcomer. For the first time on the podcast, I'd like to introduce a Liverpool fanatic who claims to have his cop knowledge on lock, though. Tunde, how are you, bro?
Good evening, guys. Good evening. How are you doing over there?
We're all good, you know. Welcome to the party, my friend, and the podcast.
Thanks. I'm back for the first time. It's good to be here.
So, have you travelled over from Bournemouth?
No. Do
you know what I'm getting at, innit?
I know exactly where you're getting at, and yeah, that'll be a good point of discussion. Fair play to the boys from Bournemouth. Yeah, they wanted it, they deserved it. Our defence was shambolic at times, but yeah, they done what they needed to do, and I think that's a wake up call. I don't know if you guys, you know Matip. Matip was a massive miss for us.
Matip, yeah.
Huge. So it's only so long you can get away with having Lucas and Milner in your defence and expect to win games. So, yeah, I think that's just a wake-up call for Klopp. Do like Klopp a lot, and he needs to get that checkbook out in Jan. Doesn't need to be stingy like Mr. Wenger. He needs to splash that cash.
You know they're calling him Brendan Klopp now.
That's harsh. The guy is good. He's good. He'll come good for us. I like Klopp. You lot know you like him too.
Hey, I'm not gonna lie, he's a good manager, but hey, there's only one. I said Wenger. Now,
I bet you lot brought Bournemouth tops at the weekend, didn't you? Both of you. I know you did.
Something like that, my friend. Now,
I wasn't really watching the game. I was very busy with Delphine, but I heard about it, and it was the same outcome for me with Delphine as it was with you with Bournemouth, and we became winners. Bournemouth and myself were very big winners, and that's what I would say for this tonight podcast, because my children were all around the world are listening to their daddy, so I need to be very careful.
Yeah, in case the listeners didn't know, Tunde back in the day was kind of like the Nigerian Donnell Jones, trying to be that guy.
I see in a
Say what? Anyway, alright guys, now it's time for some real talk on Pep Talk. Let's go! So we start with the boxing. We'd like to give a special mention to a lot of up-and-coming fighters, such as Kanye and Richard Comey, who unfortunately lost his IBF lightweight eliminator against Denis Shakoff on a split decision. Pascal, you know I rep for my Ghanaians. I rep that jollof rice and spice, my doggy.
Oh, of course, the best rice in the world, the Ghanaian jollof rice.
Now, Richard. Here we go. Invasion.
Got a nice boy in the call.
So Tunde, do you have an opinion on the jollof rice?
There's only one winner for jollof rice, and it is Nigerian jollof rice. That's a whole new show in itself. Let's just say the best jollof rice comes from West Africa. We'll leave it there for now.
See, now we've got that Ahmed Musa talk now on the podcast.
Well, the jollof rice that I'm certainly familiar with, and Frankie B, you'll agree with me, is the basmati rice. The long grain jollof rice is a different type of rice.
Magnifique it is. Now,
of course, magnifique.
Pascal, back to the boxing. Now, Richard Comey has lost 2 consecutive fights. Was it a fair defeat?
Well, recently, judging has been a very, very interesting point of discussion in boxing. Frankie, we've had the Sergey Kovalev and Andre Ward judging, and most recently the Richard Comey fight, which he had in Russia quite recently. If I'm perfectly honest, Richard Comey is a very good boxer, very skillful, very tall, very rangy. But unfortunately for him, I don't think he used his the distance of his jab very well. He didn't command the jab very well in the ring, and also he didn't use the center of the ring very well. He kept on being backed up, and he didn't quite impose himself the way he should have, and he was very disappointing for him. And Richard, has a lot of potential, but ever since his defeat to Robert Easter Jr. in September, he's finding it very difficult to get back to winning ways. And, it was just very unfortunate for Richard. And towards the end of the round, he was slightly sluggish. And I didn't feel that, he commanded and put enough pressure, to win the fight, So it was an unfortunate decision, but it was a split decision, So we had one judge gave the boxer 116 to 113, and the other boxers awarded it to the Russian fighter Denis Shafikov. But look, it's an opportunity for Richard to go back to Ghana. Maybe he was running out of jollof rice, and so he just needs to eat a bit of jollof rice, go back to the drawing board, and I have no doubt that he will come back to become a world champion. He was just in a very unfortunate, outcome for him, but he's still a very good fighter with lots of talent, and he will come back stronger.
Now on to the bigger boxing stories. And Billy Joe defended his WBO title against Arthur Akinov, winning on a unanimous points decision last weekend. Now, Pascal, just staying with you here. Many say Billy Joe wasn't at his best. Was it a case of ring rust?
Well, I think Billy Joe, perhaps ring rust comes into play. We haven't really seen much of Billy Joe recently in the world of boxing. Yeah, almost 12 months, and I mean, look, sometimes it's a very subjective decision, it's a very subjective view, because you don't see a boxer active all the time. Sometimes the public tends to develop their own, views of a boxer, or not put it on the type of performance that they want to see. Personally, Billy Joe looked in very good shape. He looked like he commanded the fight very well. He imposed himself rather well. It's been some time that we've seen Billy Joe stop an opponent or win convincingly, but in my opinion, Billy Joe, was supposed to win that fight. He was supposed to defend his title, and he's done that quite well. But we want to see Billy Joe, of course, in better fights. We want to see him challenge himself. There's talks of him. The very big fights, yes. I'm sick and tired of the rematch with Chris Eubank Jr. Yeah. At this moment in time, Frankie B, I'm not interested in seeing that fight. I want Billy Joe Saunders to take on notable opponents, maybe to go to America and to fight in America. There's talks of him fighting Triple G. It's the only belt that Triple G doesn't have, and it will be a very good fight. And I think it's time for Billy Joe to shout him out and to say, look, Triple G, next year I want to fight you. We want to see those big blockbuster fights. That are being announced, or announcing themselves very soon, and it's important that Billy Joe remains part of that conversation. It's too early for me for a rematch with Chris Eubank Jr. Chris Eubank Jr. himself needs to be in a fight and win some kind of world title. Maybe go up a division or find someone at the catchweight to have a bit more interesting buzz around him, because Chris Eubank Jr. still hasn't been crowned world champion yet, so there's still quite a lot for him to do. And at this moment in time, another domestic fight with Billy Joe and Chris Eubank wouldn't be on top of my agenda, certainly.
So how do you think Billy Joe Saunders would get on if he fought, let's say, Canelo Alvarez?
Oh, that'd be a very good fight, actually. I can see that going very well. I can see the fight going the distance, because Billy Joe is very crafty, very difficult to hit, He knows his boxing very well, very good footwork, good defense, good use of the jab, of course. Very intelligent fighter, he knows what he's doing inside the ring.
I thought you just said good use of the dab. That's Pogba, isn't it?
Yeah. That's it, of course, yes. This is my French compatriot, La Pioche, Pogba, But I'm sure Billy Joe can do the dab very well too, I'm sure he can do that, He's very easy to do, he's very easy dance, but, that'll be a very good fight, which I think will go the distance. For 12 rounds, but interestingly, I'll give it to Billy Joe. I'll give it to Billy Joe on a split decision. I think Billy Joe can outsmart Canelo. There's an opportunity there, and the newspapers and the blogs and all the other media saying that Canelo is draining himself to remain at 154, and he can actually be part of that division with Triple G and Billy Joe Saunders, and it will be a very good opportunity for Canelo to announce himself in that division to take on that fight. So Frankie B, that's very well spotted. That's a good opportunity but the problem is Oscar De La Hoya is concerned about Canelo. He's now his cash cow, we have Hopkins fighting his last fight over at the weekend.
Yes, so yes, Granddad's fighting again.
The alien B-Hop, so after that fight, on Saturday, it will be the last time that we'll see one of the, most notable living legends of the sport leaving the ring. And after that, Golden Boy have to rebuild, and the Canelo is the cash cow. So Oscar De La Hoya is very careful not to mix him with very dangerous fights. And, they're planning his career in the sense that they want Canelo to win every single fight he goes into. But to me, the Billy Joe fight will be a very good fight and an opportunity for Canelo to win a belt at that division. But I will not rule out Billy Joe on that.
Billy Joe, top bloke.
Very much so.
Tunde, how do you rate Billy Joe Saunders?
I think the kid's got potential. I like him. Again, his last fight, we said it wasn't his best.
Yeah, of course.
But yeah, I think with more training, once he's back to his best, once he looks sharp again, I think he'll be a good challenger, and he'll give the world of boxing a bit of a shake-up that we want to see.
Yeah, because a lot of people argue that because he was out of the ring for so long, like almost a year, stop-start with training, he put on quite a bit of weight, so he had to drain himself to get down to the weight. That all concluded to, a really, really under par performance. So, now that he's back, maybe his next fight will be a bit more eventful and exciting for the fans.
I think so. You got caught quite a lot as well. Is it just me that thinks that, or did he get way talk. Too much?
Yeah, real talk. But I mean, again, Billy Joe, he kind of relies on his movement, his lateral movement around the ring. He's very evasive. And because he was draining himself to get down to the weight, that his core skills weren't prevalent in the fight last weekend.
Yes, of course. Yes. But Frankie B, we expected him to win that fight comfortably, and his promoter Frank Warren wouldn't have mixed him with someone that could dethrone him. They've got big plans for Billy Joe Saunders, and you have made a valid point. Billy Joe, struggles to keep himself within the fighting or the athlete shape. Within outside the ring, he's very much Tyson Fury, who enjoys a few Nando's with extra chicken wings and
some flat.
And a frozen yogurt as well.
And a frozen yogurt, with some fried halloumi on the side, coleslaw and everything else. He's very much big fan of the fast food chain. But in this sport of boxing, to be the best and to remain at the very top of the game, you have to keep in shape even outside of of the fights, and so Billy Joe, I think, has an opportunity, must remain in good shape if he wants to have an opportunity at the big time and fulfill his potential. But, he's as you said, very good evasive fighter, good footwork, and certainly, though he got caught a few times, he still managed to use those skills quite well during that fight.
It's lucky he's not delicate around the whiskers, otherwise it would have been a different outcome.
He's got skills to pay the bills, as they say.
Of course.
Now, focus is on this weekend. The massive matchroom card up in Manchester at the MEN Arena, headed by Anthony Joshua versus Eric Molina. We're going to get a few predictions from the boys. Now, let's start with Joshua versus Eric Molina. Pascal, how do you see this fight going?
Well, interestingly, I think that it's a sterner test for Anthony Joshua, in my opinion, because Molina is a very good fighter. He's been in the ring with the best of them, but with Molina, it's an interesting character because you never really know what you're going to get. Against Deontay Wilder, he proved to be, to fall short, and he proved to have got himself, in a situation when he got knocked out. But
he rocked Wilder. He rocked him.
But yes, of course, he rocked him. But they also, very much, Deontay Wilder, there's a concern about his chin also. He's never really been in a fight with an exceptional heavyweight boxer. So until then, we're not too sure whether Deontay Wilder is the kind of fighter that we expect him to be. But at the very same time, we know that Eric Molina also managed to beat Tomasz Adamek in Poland, and knock him out and win the fight. So therefore, Molina has the opportunity, to shock the world, to shock Britain. He's got very good experience, at a heavyweight level. I was reading some article about him, saying that when he turned pro, he didn't really have much amateur fights, so he was pretty much thrown into the deep end with the Sharks, and he had to play straight very quickly, had to get his experience very quickly. And Molina, would give Anthony Joshua very much up to 8 to 9 rounds of boxing, in my opinion, and it's the kind of rounds that Anthony Joshua needs to, if there are talks of him facing Vladimir Klitschko in April at Wembley Stadium. And it's important for AJ to build himself some stamina, to build himself some experience. And even if the fight goes up to the 12 rounds, it's important for AJ to be used to that territory, because what Molina said to Anthony Joshua during the gloves are off, which I watched on YouTube. He wants to take Anthony Joshua in places never been before. It sounds like very deep waters. So at first I was like, this is a song from Joe. All the things your man will do. You remember that song? So
Frank knows that song very well. Frank just sing that song all the time.
I'm that sweet boy.
Frank is that guy.
Things your man won't do. Very good song. Listen. In this situation, Molina wants to take AJ in places he's never been before, and I think that Anthony Joshua, let's be honest, needs that experience, because nobody truly really knows how good Anthony Joshua is. He's got very good knockout ratio. Some are already comparing him to Mike Tyson in terms of his knockout ratio, but I think that for me, I want to see Anthony Joshua in better fights, in more, in fights where we can actually see Anthony Joshua, having to dig a bit deeper to win the victory. It's not always about knocking out the opponent, but his boxing ability, for me, I want to see more of his boxing ability, and I also want to see the transition from his amateur background into a more well-rounded professional boxer. And it will be good to see whether Molina can actually explore and allow the public to see how good Anthony Joshua is, and that will give Anthony Joshua the confidence to go with Vladimir Klitschko next year in April, and that fight will be phenomenal. But that old boy Klitschko is very much a crafty fighter and very intelligent fighter, and it's important that Molina brings the best out of AJ.
Tunde, is this contest, is it a formality?
I'm with my mon ami Pascal on this one. I think Joshua would do it. We've seen Joshua go from amateur done his thing in the Olympics. He's now a professional fighter, unbeaten in his professional career. I think this guy's the real deal. I think, with the support he's got behind him, the training staff, the training team has got doing a great job. The guy's a natural beast anyway, and they've got him in even better shape. So I think he can go all the way. He's just going to keep developing his skills, improving. And as you saw from his last fight, he kind of made light work of his opponent, didn't he? So I think, I think Joshua's got this in the bag. It won't be as easy as his last fight, I don't think, but I don't see it going the distance. I think, definitely before round 9. He'll get the job done. He's got too much power. He's been eating that Eba and pounded down from a young age. So he's got the power and he's developed his skills. So I think Joshua's got this. And then I even think going on to next year, Klitschko, I think Joshua will take Klitschko as well. Again, it won't be an easy fight. We know Klitschko is very, very experienced. Very, look how many fights he's had. Look how long he had the title for. But I think Joshua, if he keeps going on the right path that he's on now, the sky's the limit for this guy. Even looking past that, the fight I really want to see is Joshua Hay. So my prediction is once Joshua's dealt with Molina, once he's dealt with Klitschko, then it will be a super fight that I think the British public want to see. And even your pals back in Paris, Mike, they want to see Hay versus Joshua as well. I think that'll be a great fight.
Of course, we certainly want to see that fight, and no disrespect to Tony Bellew, but that fight, as I said before, will not last no more than 3 rounds. And David A also has been very vocal about ending the matchroom industry by taking out Anthony Joshua, and that will be a very interesting fight, a super fight. And you're right, I predict that fight could potentially take place next year Christmas, next year December. That could be the British super fight that we are looking for, that the public is looking for at a last hurrah, perhaps at Wembley Stadium, depending on the fixtures of the international football team. It could well be another super fight at Wembley Stadium, or early 2018 perhaps.
Well guys, I'm going for Joshua. No surprises, that makes it a clean sweep. I just think Joshua's got too much power. He's too exciting, he's too explosive. Molina's going to see a beast that he's never seen before. However, in heavyweight boxing, there's always an outside chance. I've seen it before with Lennox Lewis versus Hasim Rahman, where he shocked the world, and he was wearing that crown afterwards, like on his head. So I don't know. It should be a formality, but then you just never know, do you? So moving on, we've got a massive grudge match to look forward to. Dillian the Body Snatcher Whyte versus Derek Delboy Chisora. Now, those that saw the press conference today would say, well, it's going to be even more exciting on the night. Chisora threw a table. It was getting a bit rowdy once more. And I think this upcoming weekend we're going to find out who the donkey is. Pascal, how do you see this going? Predictions?
Oh my, Frankie B, I enjoyed Derek Chisora's build-up fights. The build-up to the fight is exceptional, it's, we've seen everything from Derek Chisora. We've seen him kiss boxers on the lips. We've seen him, with bottles being cracked over his head by David A. We've seen him pour water in Vitaly Klitschko's face. I mean, the king of showbiz and the king of pre-fight hype goes to Derek Chisora. I mean, the press conference today was incroyable. I've never seen a boxer do that. He was very much, angry at the fact that, Dillian Whyte was assaulting his street credibility. Whilst I've got no doubt that Derek Chisora, is a bit of a thug, is a bit of a gangster. He's also a very much unpredictable fighter, and no one predicted that table to be flying across the room like that. And I'll tell you what, Frankie B, no one will also predict that if there's going to be a knockout in this fight. My prediction is that Dillian Whyte will get knocked out. I do not believe that Dillian Whyte has the power to... Yes, I'm being very bold. I'm doing a Derek Chisora here, and I believe that Dillian Whyte is a good fighter. You know, his footwork has improved tremendously, but this is the fight that Dillian Whyte would probably win on split decision over 12 rounds if it goes the distance. But if it's going to be a stoppage, you know, I do not see the stoppage coming from Dillian Whyte because, you know, Derek Chisora, to his credit, has been in some very good boxers. You know, if you look at his career, he's lost to Tyson Fury, who stopped him with very, very good boxing skills, very good boxing ability. But he also he lost by a knockout by David Haye, who's incredibly powerful in both hands. You know, and you know, and for that reason, you know, no one has really been able to knock out Derek Chisora in that way. The way that David Haye has, and no one has recently stopped Derek Chisora the way that Tyson Fury has. Now, if you're telling me that Dillian Whyte has the power of David Haye or the boxing ability of Tyson Fury, I would say probably not, but he's certainly working hard to become a better fighter than he was with his fight against Anthony Joshua. But I really do not believe that Dillian Whyte has got the power, you know, to floor permanently Derek Chisora to the ground and to stop the fight. On the other hand, you know, Derek Chisora has a very good overhand right that is unpredictable and that can come out at any given time. And Derek Chisora sometimes does very interesting things in fights and you don't quite know what he's going to do. And, you know, unless Dillian Whyte can keep the footwork going for the full 12 rounds, there's a chance that you'll get caught with a few of his bombs, you know, and that could be very interesting on the night. So my prediction is, if the fight goes the distance over 12 rounds, Dillian Whyte takes it. If the fight ends up being a knockout or stoppage, Derek Chisora wins.
Ooh wee. Tunde, who are you going for, mate?
On this one, I'm gonna go for...
No, first of all, who's going to be the donkey? Who's going to be the donkey?
Who's going to be the donkey? Who's the donkey now? I think Whyte's got this. It won't be an easy fight by any means. But if you look at the progression of Dillian's, I think he's coming on strong. He's in better shape. You know, there's talk.
No more rice and peas and ting. No more rice and peas and dumpling.
I'm sure he might still be having
protein and salad, man.
Yeah, I don't know about that. I'm sure he might be sneaking in a bit of rice and peas. It'll be a bit hard not to have that at some point in your dietary regime. But yeah, he's definitely in better shape than he was. So you can tell, you know, he's been improving on areas of weakness, and he's a strong boy. He's got a punch on him. We saw in his last fight before, even against Joshua. You know, he can hurt people with his punches. So, you know, they're both big fellas. This is a heavyweight division. Now, at any given moment, anyone can knock the other one out, fair enough. But I think if it goes a distance, like Pascal said, I think he'll go to Whyte. But I think he's got it in his locker to put him to the canvas. Having said that, you can't write off the old boy. Don't write him off. This is why it's going to be such an intriguing encounter. I think this is going to be a good one. And the fact they don't like each other at all. Have you seen, you know, in the gloves are off, it nearly kicked off. People are throwing tables in the press conference today. Yeah, it's going to be good. It's going to be pantomime on prime time. I can't wait for this one.
It's going to be lit. It's going to be shut down. Now, Pascal, we move on to a friend of the show, Dave Allen, the Rhino. Versus your one of your favorite boxers, Luis Ortiz.
My Uncle Joe, yes.
What are you saying results wise? Is the Rhino going to come to prominence, or is Ortiz going to take another step forward?
Well, I had a look at what the local bookings were offering. You know, in Paris we've got 1 to 100. You know, the local bookies are offering 1 to 100 euros on Luis Ortiz. So it's not really much of a market, to be honest. But, you know, as you said before, boxing is always a puncher's chance, you know, but, you know, look, it's going to be a very explosive fight, you know, because, you know, we are very good friends of Dave Allen. You know, Dave Allen's a good friend of the show. We've a huge respect for him, you know, and certainly for him taking that fight as well at short notice. You know, I don't believe that, you know, Dave Allen even realized this year that he'll be fighting one in the top 5 ranked heavyweight boxers around the world. So congratulations to DeValon to let that fight. But for me, from the moment the bell rings, it's going to be fireworks. The type of fireworks you see at Trafalgar Square or the Thames, for the New Year's in England, the ones we see in Paris. And it's going to be absolutely incredible. But as I said before, the fight will be won by Luis Ortiz, and I think Luis Ortiz will probably win by knockout. It's going to be an explosive fight, but I do not believe that DeValon will defeat Luis Ortiz the way that he should. Because to defeat a boxer like Luis Ortiz, you have to be technically advanced as a boxer, and not just stronger than Ortiz. But Ortiz is very good technical fighter. He's not as bad as people think. He's very good. As we know, he's schooled from the Cuban school of boxing, so very crafty, very intelligent at boxing. And I just do not believe that sheer brute force will stop Ortiz. It will be a combination of very good ring craft, ring skill, very good footwork, and I just don't believe that DeValon had enough preparation. Just don't think the preparation is been it's been good enough for him. He's taking the fight at short notice. Let's be honest. We when we were speaking to DeValon, we didn't even know he was going to be fighting Luis Ortiz.
Yeah. He did say He did say the end of 2016 might still be a big year for him. So
yes, of course. And perhaps he'd been training in between. We don't know. Perhaps he'd been training as most boxers do. But this is pretty much one of the fights of his life. It's certainly a better fight and a bigger fight, in my opinion, than the one he had against Donnell Whyte. And and Donnell Whyte gave made good work out of DeValon, and Luis Ortiz will also expose DeValon, in my opinion. But DeValon will keep carrying on. I wish him all the best, and he should keep going, because the journey is a long journey, and in this sport of boxing anything can happen, as you know. So may long continue.
Well, in the words of Vince McMahon, oh baby. Right, guys, just to conclude on the Matchroom card, we'd also like to mention that Kai Yafai attempts to be Britain's first super flyweight champion. We wish him the best of luck. Yafai, please do the business. Now it's interview time. Our boxing correspondent Shaz Chowdhury met up with two hot boxing prospects at York Hall: welterweight contender Jumanne Camero and cruiserweight Nick Parpa.
Pep Talk UK are joined by an up-and-coming talent, a youngster that's coming through the ranks quite nicely, Jumanne Camero. How you doing, Jumanne?
I'm very good, thank you. Just enjoying the fight today.
Did you like my intro?
I did. Love the intro.
You loved the intro. I've got an eye for talent, so don't let me down.
Thank you, man.
If you don't end up with a world title around your waist, I'm going to be gutted, because I've bigged you up big time.
Look at that pressure right there.
Now, Jumanne, for people, listeners that don't know of you, what's your record? How many fights you had?
I've had 3 fights. My last fight I just had last week. Had 1 stoppage.
What weight are you fighting at, Jumanne?
Currently welterweight, so 66.7, 147 pounds, however you want to do it. My coach wants me to get down a little bit, so we'll see what happens, but never know.
Now, you mentioned your coach. Who's training you?
Barry O'Connell, straight out of State of Mind Gym, Hammersmith. You might have seen him strength and conditioning coach for George Groves as well. Worked with John O'Donnell. Great coach, man, great guy. And we're so compatible, really.
You've got a good little stable around there. There's a few lads that are fighting. Do you get a chance to spar some of these lads? Who you've been sparring?
We've been sparring a load of people, especially since our stable's coming up quite a bit. We've got about 12, 13 fighters in, and we're all quite near the same weight, similar weights. So we get to get a lot of sparring with each other. Obviously, Dan, Dino, definitely seen them in Wembley recently, fighting on George Groves' card. There was Ricky, who was fighting today. Obviously, Joycey, Rhino, a bit bigger, cruiserweights. Have some amateurs in there as well. I have a load of people. Obviously, John O'Donnell, and more are coming, really. And you can't really go wrong when you have sparring on your doorstep. It's all good going away sometimes, but when you have quality sparring right in your gym, it's great, really. It's the best.
What got you into boxing?
This is a very long story. How can I shorten it? I was a kickboxer to begin with. I'm a kickboxer. Martial artist, Kung Fu Lao, went to kickboxing. And someone I trained with knew Barry. And I went down there maybe about 4 or 5 years ago. And I went there mainly for the fitness, obviously, him being a PTI. And just started with the boxing training. It was good to work my hands as well, to be better all round in the kickboxing. And from there, just kind of flew up, started fighting with him. And suddenly now I've turned pro and we're in good position.
Very good position in 2016. What are we aiming for in 2017?
Do you know what? I am a person that I always make loads of goals to make each week, each month. But for 2017, my main thing is just to get out. I just want to get out and fight. And at the moment, especially after my last win, it's hard for me to get the fights, but it's alright, I'll just get as many as I can. I'm not worried about what comes, whatever comes.
Now, you've got a wicked nickname. What's your nickname?
My nickname's The Predator.
The Predator, and how did you end up with that as a nickname?
I've had many nicknames. One of my favourites. One reason because of my hair. Got lovely long locks. How you doing? And the second is because, especially when I was kickboxing, I was quite relentless, and I just kept going. I'll stalk you down and keep going. Not that I couldn't step back and take a breather, but it's just I can, and I just keep going, and I just kind of stuck with it. I think it works well.
Now, as you know, I'm a Leeds fan. Do you follow football?
I do follow football.
So what rubbish team do you support?
Well, if I said I supported Leeds as well. Nah, I'm joking.
I know you don't. I know you don't, because I've had this conversation before we started doing the interview.
I am a Gooner, Arsenal supporter.
For your fans out there, have you got any messages?
Just keep supporting me. I'm loving the support from everyone, friends, family, everyone close, anyone that wants to come and see me, and I'm going to do as much as I can for you guys, honestly. I try to entertain. And I'm hoping to get better fights, so when you come, you can see what I can actually produce, because I can produce a lot. If you see when I'm training, when I'm sparring, how hard I do what I do, you don't always get to see it all, but soon it's coming, guys. It's coming, trust me.
Cool. Now, for people, listeners that aren't following you at the moment, what are your social media handles so they can give you a quick follow?
It's at JPredatorBoxing for both Instagram and Twitter.
Love the Predator. Well, Jumanne, best of luck for 2017. We at Pep Talk will be watching your career and wish you the best for the future.
Thank you, my man. See you soon.
And you're going to be happy that Pep Talk UK are joined by Mr. Nick Parpa. How you doing, Nick?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Now, Nick, I've seen you fight. Some of our listeners don't know much about you because you're young, you're coming into the game. How many fights you had now?
I've had 3 fights as a professional so far.
And you've won all 3?
I've won all 3 on stoppages, yeah.
And they've all been stoppages?
They have.
What is it? Is it Weetabix you're having in the morning? What is it that you're eating that you get in there?
It's actually,
I want to finish this off quick time.
It's actually porridge.
It's actually the porridge.
Yeah.
What weight are you fighting at?
I'm fighting at cruiserweight.
And have you got a nickname?
I do. Some people call me 300 because they say I look like a character out of the movie, and some people call me the Nightmare.
You are built like a brick.
Thank you.
What's your daily routine like? What do you do in terms of a training regime on a weekly basis?
I literally Monday to Saturday. My only day off in the week is a Sunday. Monday to Saturday, you know, I live the sport. I'm in the gym twice a day. Sometimes I have 3 sessions a day. You know, sometimes I run, sometimes I box, sometimes I swim. So I'm training, you know, sometimes over 12 times a week.
You're being trained by a bit of a legend. Who's your trainer?
He's a good man and is a very, very, very good coach. His name's Don Charles.
And we got Don Charles in.
Yeah, he's really, you know, I think he's one of the best trainers in the world, if you ask me.
2016 has been you've had your pro debut, you've had a couple of fights, you've got 3 under the belt, you're fighting on Goodwin shows.
Yeah.
What are you looking for in 2017?
I'm just looking to, you know, just stay active, stay busy, and hopefully, you know, some more fights will come my way.
Now, our podcast does a bit of boxing and a bit of football. Are you a football fan?
I'm a little bit of a football fan, yeah.
You look by face a gooner. You a gooner?
Yeah, I'm a gooner, yeah.
I'm a Leeds boy. We don't like gooners.
I can't say much about that.
You're a cruiserweight and I'm not a cruiserweight, so I'm not going to argue with you.
Yeah.
Before you sign off, for listeners that want to give you a follow, what are your Twitter handles, your Insta handles, social media? How can people follow your career?
You can find me at just search Nick Parpa, P-A-R-P-A, and I'll come up on everything, all social media.
And have you got a message for your fans out there?
I just want to say thank you very much to everyone that comes to support me. I can't explain how much it helps and how grateful I am. And I want to say thank you to God and thank you to all my sponsors, the Gentleman's Barber, BoxFit UK. There's a lot. Just search me up and you'll see it all.
Well, Nick, we at Pep Talk are going to be following your career. We wish you the best for the future.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the interview. I appreciate it.
Now it's football time. We talk about the Champions League. Let's run through the games. Arsenal beat Bâle 4-1 to top the group. Pascal, we were top.
We certainly are. You know,
brilliant, mate.
It's certainly the position I like to be. Very much on top. And it's a position that Arsenal are now leading, into the Champions League group. And it's a position that Arsenal have not held for quite some time. So it could potentially be a change of fortune for them going into the second round of the Premier League competition, the knockout stages, being at an advantage. I read that Wenger will make sure that the strongest team is filled out for the last game to ensure that they remain on top. But unfortunately, Paris Saint-Germain weren't able to keep Ludo Goretz, who could be a very troublesome team, as I think they will have, of course, Liverpool had a very torrid time against them when they were in the Champions League, very, very torrid time. And Ludo Goretz are proving to become, a pain in the ass for quite a lot of the big, so-called big European clubs. So, fair play to Ludo Goretz, for giving Paris Saint-Germain a very difficult game, 2-0 draw au Parc des Princes, which is quite incredible. So on that basis, very pleased for the Arsenal boys. They deserve. They have a tremendous squad, a very tremendous team spirit, and the game against Basel was incroyable. It was an incredible game. Very, very good. Very good football from Lucas Perez, who announced himself in the Premier League stage with a hat-trick. Come on, that's very good for somebody that started his career at Arsenal on an injury, and to come back from his injury and to score 3 goals, is exceptional. So there's certainly a bit of talent there, and also Kieran Gibbs, very much showed a lot of maturity, on the left hand side.
Gangster Gibbs, mate. Gibbs.
Yeah. Gibbs showed, some really good play, Gibbs 3 assists, 3 assists during that game. And Lucas Perez scored those 3 goals, so congrats to him. And of course, Tunde will be very pleased with his Nigerian compatriot in Alex Iwobi, who's also showing very good value, and who scored a very good goal as well. So it's certainly, we have a very bright future at Arsenal, and I just hope that Arsene Wenger can certainly cement the futures of Ozil and Sanchez. They need to remain at the club. And of course, it'll be very interesting to see what the Champions League draw will be like next year, and to see who Arsenal end up playing.
Yes. Well, other results: Man City drew with Celtic 1-1, and Leicester, already qualified as group leaders, were tonked by Porto 5-0. Now, Tunde, any surprises with Celtic going out?
I wouldn't say so.
I'm just pulling your leg. That's all.
It's the same for me every year, isn't it? They kind of do what they need to do in the Scottish League, come to the Champions League against the big boys, and end up in the Europa if they're lucky. But they had a good performance yesterday to pull off a 1-1 draw. Not bad at all. Fair play to them, and they could have won it as well. They had chances.
And Dembele is a good player.
Oh, he looks good. I like him. Possibly see him in the Premiership one day.
Who knows? But otherwise, I think Celtic were quite brave. They didn't go out in a whimper, and to get a 1-1 draw with City at the home ground is creditable. So, well done, Celtic. Now, as always, we always touch on the Premiership. Now, we're talking about last weekend's results. Chelsea beat Man City 3-1 at Etihad Stadium. further cementing their title credentials. Now, Tunde, I'm going to ask this question once again, as I do with everybody else. Are Chelsea for real?
I do not see why not. I hate to admit it, but yeah, they do look the real deal. One thing that Chelsea have got with other teams is they're solid at the back. They had a blip at the start of the season, but Conte's come in, he's made a few changes, and that three at the back formation they've got is working wonders for them. They look good. You look at Costa. Costa is on fire at the minute. For me, arguably the best striker in the Prem currently, on current form. Hazard's found form. Pedro's looking good. Willian is looking good, and Victor Moses as well. Look at Victor Moses. This is a player that was at Wigan a few seasons back, and now he's, arguably one of the most on-form players in the Prem right now. So yeah, Chelsea, if they keep this momentum, there's no reason why they can't win it. I think the only people that can probably catch them realistically is Liverpool, obviously, if they sort out that defence. I was speaking to someone earlier, they were telling me that they've seen biscuits hold better together than Liverpool's defence after you dipped it in some kind of tea. But yeah, I think Liverpool also challenges, obviously, Arsenal as well. With Arsenal, we all know, come February, March, they tend to slip up a bit. But yeah, if they
tend to think of the holidays. Yeah,
is that what it is? Yeah, but yeah, Chelsea definitely contenders, and I'd also say let's not write off Man City, because with a few signings, I think they could be very, very formidable as well. And look who they've got as a manager, So yeah.
But did you see the challenge from Aguero on David Luiz? Is Aguero trying to engineer a move away from Man City?
That was a shocker. That was a shocking challenge. It's like he was trying to.
That was on purpose. That was on purpose.
It was deliberate. Do you think it was a bit of frustration as well because his side were losing? Aguero loves to score. He didn't score that day, so yeah, I think it was a bit of frustration. But that's very uncalled for. Could have ended Sideshow Bob's career then.
That's it. Real talk. Pascal.
Wait.
Arsenal. 5-1 destruction of West Ham at the Olympic Stadium, courtesy of Alexis Sanchez. 3 goals, hat-trick.
West Ham, yes.
Obviously, contract talks are basically stalled between Sanchez and Arsenal. If you could pick between keeping Sanchez or Ozil, who would you pick and why?
Oh, that's a very, very difficult question. It's like asking me, would I want to keep or would I want to sleep with Serena Williams or, ask for Nicki Minaj at the dinner
or Peggy Mitchell.
No way, Peggy Mitchell. I'm not a very big fan of hers, but you are essentially asking me to choose between 2 big body women, and it's very difficult to make that decision between Serena Williams and Nicki Minaj. But realistically, I prefer the natural booty than to the surgically enhanced, but nevertheless, they're both attractive women. Big shout out to Serena and to Nicki Minaj. But look, Alexis Sanchez, in my opinion, is a world-class player, and he's also showing the ability to play as a striker. And we all know, Frankie B, that strikers are very, very difficult to find. Very much like a good woman, you don't find them very often. And when you have one, you've got to keep spending a lot of money and take it to the Champs-Élysées and buy Louis Vuitton. So from that point of view, I would say that Sanchez deserves £250,000 a week. He plays with his heart. There is no player in the Arsenal squad that shows more desire and more determination. I'll give you a prime example. When Sanchez was substituted during the Champions League game and you saw his name on the scoreboard, he showed disappointment. This is a man that plays in the team that were winning comfortably, that could have easily gone home, had a shower and cuddled up with his wife.
Like Balotelli does.
Like Balotelli does, yes, but he was very angry. He's very angry. And as a person that lives in France, lives in Paris, as a very proud French person, where la passion, l'amour, passion and love is very much part of the DNA of every French person, a man like Sanchez, demonstrates to me the type of passion that you need to have for the modern game and also for the team that you represent. And Alexis Sanchez was made for Arsenal, and he has Arsenal DNA in his blood. Therefore, I'm pleading with the board, I'm pleading with Arsene Wenger to do something he's never done before, is grant this man opportunity to earn the money that he has. Many people are still saying that Sanchez is not world class, because for him to be world class, I was watching Match of the Day, and Alan Shearer said that Sanchez is not world class. I mean, Alan, first and foremost,
he is.
Alan Shearer is just jealous because he's got no personality. But in terms of the quality of Sanchez, I'm sorry, but he's world class, and he's very much a player that needs to be encouraged. And and Sanchez is quite an emotional player. If you award him what he's supposed to earn, Arsenal will be in there for a golden era in their football. Let's not forget that Sanchez was in the team that allowed Arsenal to win back-to-back FA Cups. Sanchez was in the team that allowed Arsenal to win the Charity Shield, against bitter rivals. Therefore, I think that the money that Sanchez is requesting is very much something that we should give him, in honor and in respect of him as a player, And as for Ozil, Ozil, I very, very much rate Ozil. He's a very good player, but there's a younger version, a younger German version of Draxler.
Yeah,
if you heard, if those of us for those of you who follow the podcast, that Draxler is a player that I rate highly. And he's another player that could slot in the Arsenal club quite well, and I could do some of the job that Ozil is doing, but other statistics are undeniable. There's no player in the Champions League that has as many assists as Ozil, except for the two greats, Ronaldo and Messi. And Ozil's in the third position in terms of assists, so he's very much just as an important player, and he's also beginning to score the goals that we expect him to score. Frankie B, you're asking me a very big decision, and I'm sorry, but I would prefer to go to bed with Serena Williams and Nicki Minaj at the same time than to choose one. I'm sorry. So on that basis, the two of them should remain at the club. They have to remain at the club.
Just the two, okay. Well,
just the two of us.
Now, Tunde, enough about the Arsenal. Yeah. Let's talk about the Scousers. What happened to you guys? I mean, you guys were 3-1 up, and then all of a sudden, you just fell asleep, man. And Bournemouth came back. So, what happened? And what can Liverpool do?
Need to. Honestly speaking, Liverpool going forward, we're like a Lamborghini, and then defensively we're like a Robin Reliant that needs a new exhaust and just repairing entirely. We're so good at attacking. If you look at the players we've got, look at Firmino. I mean, brilliant. Even Origi coming in for the injured Sturridge, looked good. He's been scoring goals. His finish on Sunday was exquisite from ridiculous angles. So yeah,
that was lit. Yeah,
it was good. Definitely got the minerals. But yeah, it's just defensively, as I was saying at the start of the show, if you have to play Milner's not bad left back, but he's not left. He's not a left back, and we know that.
He's any guy, man. Let's be honest.
I'm sure has he scored more than Giroud this season? Well, we have to get a stat man in to verify that. But from set pieces, he's taking a few pens. He's been scoring. So when we first signed Milner, I wasn't convinced, but he hasn't let us down. Apart from giving away that penalty on Sunday, and as we know, he's not a natural left back, so he's going to make a mistake. That being said, even if you give away a pen, there's no excuse for conceding 4 goals against Bournemouth. You can't do that. And I think that's where we need to strengthen if we're going to be real title challengers this season. Lucas at the back as well, come on. I know Pascal was laughing. Pascal must have been laughing when he saw Lucas on the team sheet as centre. That's not on. But no, I think we've definitely got potential. Klopp's come in, he's done a great job.
Yeah. And Mane's made a lot of difference to the team.
Mane. Guy's a superstar. Guy's phenomenal. And if you notice, that's actually a good point. When he went off injured, that's when the problem started, because he's such a threat going forward. He was running Bournemouth ragged all day. As soon as he went off, we lost that pace, we lost some of that power, down the right flank. Even for two of the goals, it was, Mane linking up with Chan. And that's how two of the goals were created. As soon as he went off, it all changed. Then Frazier, fair play to Frazier, had a very good game. But, if you look at the analysis, there were opportunities to clear. So I think, a few tweaks here and there, and we'll be back on top. Having said that, we have to watch out for that blue wave Chelsea. They're looking very solid. And I said Arsenal, really rate Sanchez, rate Ozil. I just think they might fade away as they do every year, unless they get some players in Jan. But I think we're good. You look at players like Lallana as well. He's improved, and he's scoring goals. That's the side of his game was missing. But I think, the real miss for us, why we were defeated by Bournemouth, Matip. Matip is very underrated. He's a very good centre-back. But when you have to rely on Lovren and Lucas at the back, you're going to have issues. Mr. Klopp, please sign some defenders in Jan, and then we'll bring you that title. You can bring that Prem home. Bring it home.
Brendan Klopp, get in there, mate.
He's a legend. You don't love Klopp, really.
Tunde, just staying with you. Now, Man United, right? The fall from grace has been spectacular. To say the least. I've got to be impartial, maybe. But basically, they've drawn another game. In terms of Man United, what do you see them achieving this year?
With the manager they've got, the players they've got, and the budget they have, they should be challenging for that title. There's no doubt about it. They've got the Europa, but with the squad they've got, they can afford to play their fringe players. So I think, with the manager they've got, they should be challenging on all the fronts they can. If I'm going to be critical, I think Fellaini coming on wasn't the best move, arguably not.
Defensive move, innit? That's what it was.
Defensive move, but you need someone with a bit of composure, and you don't need someone who's going to be clumsy, giving away penalties, with 10 minutes to go.
Did you see Mourinho's face though when he conceded the penalty?
It was priceless.
If looks could kill, I tell you.
Yeah, they played so well that game as well. To be fair to Man U, they did play very well. If you look at Pogba, Mkhitaryan, and
baller,
and the Zlatan, they linked up beautifully at times. I think it's just that end product. But Man United, they should definitely be challenging for that Prem. I think at some point it will click. They'll definitely click and gel at some point, and then it will heat up the contention for the title even more. But I think they've got a bit of a way to go. One thing I will say, that their keeper's outstanding. De Gea, great keeper, and he's been their saviour a few times this season. Defensively, they're okay. They're not conceding that many. They're just not scoring as many as you'd expect from Man United. Traditionally, they are the kings of the Premiership. They've won it more times than anyone else. They've dominated for many years after Sir Alex Ferguson came to the throne there. So I think it will take time. It's always going to be hard to replace Fergie, isn't it? There's no replacement for that. But they'll be all right. They won't get relegated. Will they win the Premiership? Will they win the league this season? Doubt it. But they'll be contenders. In that top 4, arguably, definitely top 6, easy.
We'll wait and see. Now, Pascal, Spurs have come back. They beat Swansea 4-0. A lot of people are saying Spurs won't challenge. What are they missing to actually challenge for the Premiership?
Well, Spurs, sorry if I keep hearing me correctly, it was 5-0, that Spurs won. They scored 5, yes. Wow. But Spurs still very much have got an opportunity to challenge, but, their Dutch acquisition, Jensen, still hasn't, proven himself or established himself very well in the Premier League. And also my other French compatriot, Moussa Sissoko, he's not performing as well as as expected. So there's still very much I guess he still needs to get used to the new system and to his new teammates. But perhaps we'll see the best of Moussa Sissoko in the second half of the season. But generally Spurs for me have got a well balanced team. For the start of the season, they still were very much rated as the best defensive team in the Premier League. It's just that they were conceding a lot of draws, or they were having a lot of draws. But certainly the team with the most draws is Manchester United. You know, who I like to call Ascenza United because they've had more draws than the female draws retailer. But you know, in terms of Spurs, you know, they require another striker. In my opinion, that's as good as Harry Kane. You know, that can do the job. You know, Son is a very good player and he scores goals. He's got very good frightening pace, and he's very good at cutting inside. You know, the defenders in the last 16, and I think
he just needs to grow up. He just needs to grow up. He's still a son, so he just needs to grow up.
He just needs to grow up, of course. Yes, he needs to become the daddy.
Become a man. Yeah.
Yeah, certainly. But you know, I think for the key for them will be Harry Kane. You know, Harry Kane was injured at the start of the season, and the key for Spurs is to keep Harry Kane fit and to supply him with the balls that he requires. You know, Harry Kane is a pretty much a complete striker. He's good in the air. He's got very good shooting ability. He's quite clinical. And he's also announced that he'll be staying for Spurs for the rest of his life, which I'm not sure is the right thing to do. But you know, Harry Kane, you know, he's his old man. He can make that decision for himself. But I think the key for them will be to keep an Harry Kane as fit. And Dele Alli, we've not really seen much of him this season. You know, Dele Alli hasn't quite been the revelation this season, and he was last season. So there's very much an opportunity for Dele to get back in the team, of course, and to impose himself as a fundamental part of the attacking part of Spurs, you know. But in terms of their defense, you know, there's not much I can criticize about them. You know, I just think that Spurs have been unlucky and have not been able to convert those draws into winning games. But believe you me, they'll be there. They'll be there. You know, they'll very much challenge when given the opportunity. And the problem is with the Europa Cup schedule, you know, it might prove to be quite difficult, you know, to balance those midweek games, awkward times of the week on Thursdays, and then prepare for a Saturday or Sunday game. You know, Mauricio Pochettino would have probably preferred to be completely out of the European football rather than, you know, remain in a Europa Cup competition, you know, and that's probably, you know, something that Mauricio will be looking for perhaps next year, following on the domestic success that Liverpool and Chelsea are currently having by not being part of any European football altogether and concentrating on the domestic cup. So that's certainly something that they'll ponder about next season.
Well, we'll look forward to the return of the Premiership this weekend. Well, that's our time, guys. I'd like to thank Tunde. I'd like to thank Pascal. Join us again next week for another Pep Talk UK podcast. Boom.
Pep Talk UK.